So, sorry to the 40, very few people watched my last video, but very sorry to you that I uploaded such a crappy video. I don't want to make the same mistake again, that's funny, because this video is turning out just the same way now. Let's cut to the chase then. I was just looking at Michael Vick's Wikipedia page, and I listened to about 6 minutes, mesmerized by it, of Robert Bride's condemnation of him in a speech he made to the Senate. And, oh my word, why was he on the Senate? Perhaps I'm judging him unfairly. Maybe he was a great senator, you know, even though he at one point was involved with the Ku Klux Klan. But maybe aside from that, I mean, Bill Clinton did kind of excuse him for that, saying that he discarded it and did everything he could to make amends. But maybe he was good up until 2007, when maybe he was just senile, and for the rest of his time on the Senate he was great. But nevertheless, when it was like unbelievably dumb, and he repeated everything 3 times and said such crap like, this is such a terrible thing because dogs were created by God to be men's companion. And I'm speechless. Yeah, really. I hope that there are some smarter senators out there. But that's not even what I wanted to talk about. I just want to talk about, this is so weird to me, this moral schizophrenia. All 50 states recognize bullfighting, no, what am I talking about? Dogfighting as being illegal. And it seems it's pretty much condemned. People say it is barbaric. Michael Vick was prosecuted by the law. But we kill animals the whole time for our food. And like I said before, it's the same type of deal. We enjoy, they enjoy, well, okay, I'll say we, referring to as a species. I'm a vegan. We enjoy eating animals. We gain pleasure from the taste of their flesh. Michael Vick got pleasure from watching them fight. But both methods put the animals through excruciating pain and miserable lives. Why is one condemned and the other okay? It's just doesn't make sense to me. I just can't get my head around it. It really bothers me, actually. I guess I could look on the positive side and say, well, at least some animal rights are recognized, but it's the amount that are not. It's terrible. So, right. On another note, I looked into Ricky Gervais' animal rights campaigning. He wrote a letter to the Queen about the silly hats the guards wear at her ceremonies. And funnily enough, coincidentally, I did have a conversation. I met a few of my neighbors last night and met a guy who has 3 sons, the oldest of which is my age, and is like doing a 3rd tour of Afghanistan as a soldier. It makes me feel like I have the dullest life. But be that as it may, he was a cool guy, and sorry, it's asking me for my password. Sorry about that. And well, according to him, that they have to cull the bears anyway. So the bears that are slaughtered for the Queen Guard's hats, the fur on the hats, the bears would have been killed anyway. But it just makes me think, okay, they have to be culled anyway. I forgot what reason. Apparently, it's a good enough reason. But right. So when we euthanize a human being, we don't say, well, we had to kill them, put them out of their suffering anyway. Let's take their fingernails or their skin and parade it about in a ceremony. No, we have a little more respect for the person, and that I mean, it doesn't matter in a way because I don't believe in any karmic sort of thing happening. I don't think that parading their fur around is like affecting them in an after consciousness. I don't call it an afterlife because life by definition should be reproducing and such. And never mind. I don't think it's like causing them pain in some after consciousness after this life here. But it's just a means of like respect. Like we respect humans when they're dead. We don't use their skin and parade it about in a ceremony, but we do it with animals. So there is this like we can see that there's clearly this speciesist thing going on. So while we might have to cull the bears, it would still be nice if we could and just treat it like it's a necessity and be sad about it and not have a ridiculous ceremony and put it on God's head so that they can look like dickheads. Ricky Gervais's letter was great, even though, according to my neighbour, the bears are killed anyway, so by doing the ceremonies with the legit fur, it doesn't exactly add to the death toll. But I just lost my thought mid-sentence. Like Ricky Gervais did make a good point about tradition, and that just because it's tradition, it doesn't make it excusable, especially in the 21st century, that we ought to be killing sentient animals. And that's a good point. They could indeed use synthetic fur, and yeah, we cannot use tradition as an excuse, because then the people of Catalonia have the same right, because that's what I've been hearing from them. And that's just, it's dumb to say, woo, it's tradition. Just therefore it should continue. Well, it's very ethically questionable, and you're killing sentient animals. And this was depressing. One of the fucktards in Catalonia, he had some prominent role in the bullfighting, and his response was, "This is a tradition, and people do not. We are not forcing people to watch." And it's just like, wow, completely missing the fucking point, fucktard. Yeah, just if I don't watch it, the animal's still gonna suffer. I mean, how dumb can you get? These people they lack something. They really seem to lack a grasp on what the animal rights people were protesting against. It's so odd. By their logic, I could just say, well, the Crusades that happened 1,000 years ago. Well, that's tradition. I'm going to join a Christian army and go slaughter a load of people because it's a tradition and it's in my blood. And that's what one Catalonian bullfighter said. It's ridiculous. So, I don't really have an end point, just a rant, really. So I'm now going to try some on a different, completely unrelated topic. So this cola right here, I bought it from like an organic food store. I sell it at the place I work, actually, which is also Planet Organica, an organic health store, but it's expensive, but that's because it's ethically sourced and because it doesn't contain phosphoric acid, the preservative that will likely give you osteoporosis should you consume it too much. So, I urge any Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, any cola drinkers, always check the label. Most of the colas do contain phosphoric acid, but it's extremely bad for you, so avoid it, basically. It's really worth avoiding. So, how does this taste, yeah? Well, it's definitely different. Yeah. But in a good way. It's pretty awesome, actually. With that, I will leave you. Peace.